This is Jake Symbol ASMR. I know many of you play video games, and I thought at least some of you would be interested in Elden Ring. And even if you're not playing Elden Ring, I'm sure you will enjoy this video. I'm going to read item descriptions from my inventory. The item descriptions in Elden Ring and other games by this developer, FromSoftware, are actually very interesting and well written. And even if you're not a fan or you haven't played them, it is very beautiful, interesting language, and I think anyone can enjoy it. I won't read any descriptions of items that might be considered a spoiler, but the thing about this game is that it's not really linear enough, and the item descriptions are so cryptic that you have to decide what you consider a spoiler. I like to go into things blind, but like, if you don't even want to know that a character exists, or hear some vague characterization of a character, or if you don't even want to see an item that you haven't obtained, then maybe it's not for you. Before I get to it, I just want to remind everyone to leave a thumbs up and subscribe if you've not. Go check out my other videos if you like video games, and especially scary stories and horror related stuff. And if you're playing Elden Ring right now, or you want to, let's talk in the comments, because I'm really interested how everyone else's experience is, and if you want to judge my character or something like that, my choices, I think I'm doing pretty well for myself, but yeah. And we can also trade tips and things, because I have my opinions and my ideas about how I beat bosses and stuff. So without further ado, we're gonna switch the screen over to the gameplay, and I'm just gonna read off of my screen. Okay. This is where I had left off. I don't know if this is the most beautiful setting. I mean, I think it's really beautiful. It's scary though. It's Caelid, the land that has been devoured by scarlet rot. This area is accessible from the beginning, like most of the open world. So if you want to get destroyed, just like ride your horse into Caelid. But enough of that, we came here for some item descriptions. So I will be going into my inventory. Now, I'm just gonna read like what interests me. Lore-wise, I think that glintstone stuff I find really interesting. Lore-wise, glintstone scrap. Glintstone scrap. Piece of glintstone tinged with unstable magic. Found in crystal tunnels. Break gem using FP to produce a magic bolt. Poor quality and therefore easily broken. A sorcerer wouldn't give it a second look. The sorcerers are kind of pompous. They, like, sorceries in this game scale with intelligence, and they're very They're very pretentious, they're very all about their intelligence. Let's see. Lump of broken glintstone, enwreathed with magic power. This is cuckoo glintstone. Cuckoo glintstone. A faux sorcery used by the Knights of the Cuckoo. Cuckoo. Craftable item. Launch straight ahead using FP. A magic bolt springs forth from the point of impact. Okay, these consumables are not the most interesting. I'll read a few more though. The rainbow stones are kind of interesting. Ruined fragment that has undergone some simple processing. Craftable item. Stones such as these shine with the colors of the rainbow, making them useful markers when placed on the ground. Can also be dropped to gauge the distance of a fall. The higher the pitch of the sound, the higher the likelihood of the fall being fatal. Once used to entertain children on the fringes of the lands between. I'm curious about that fringes concept. I don't know, were they like marginal people? This is why I like reading item descriptions, because it's like one of the main ways that you figure out the lore of the game. So like you have to like pay attention to even how the sentences are written. So like the fringes of the lands between. I think actually that's a good we could go to Ruin Fragment, which is one of the crafting ingredients is Ruin Fragment. And I think that rainbow stones are made of ruin fragments. Albinoric blood clot. Gross sounding word. Now where are my ruin fragments? Yeah. Sanctuary stone. Sanctuary stones are similar. A rare piece of stone fragment found near places where ruins have fallen from the sky. Material used for crafting items. It feeds and strengthens the light as it shines. I was interested in the sanctuary stone and the ruin fragment because these ruins that fall from the sky, I still don't know what that is all about. Why there are ruins falling from the sky in the lands between, but it appears that the ruins you find across the land have fallen from the sky. And I'm trying to piece things together, and that makes me think I should find something related to gravity, so some incantations or sorceries probably have some really interesting descriptions. Oh, I want an incantation that is about gravity or comets. Here we go. Comet Azure. Legendary sorcery devised by Azure, primeval sorcerer. Fires a tremendous comet in a torrent akin to the distant starry expanse. enemy's power. When Azur glimpsed into the primeval current, he saw darkness. He was left both bewitched and fearful of the abyss. Though, even though I don't do any sorceries, so I'm kind of resentful of sorceries. The glintstone is really interesting to me, so here it says that the starry expanse is the origin of glintstone, so sorceries seem to use power from the stars, and there's a lot about studying the stars. And Azur is so interesting. He was left bewitched and fearful of the abyss, sort of like maybe how we feel when we think about the scale of the universe. Let's see. Rock Blaster. Rock Blaster. One of the glintstone sorceries of the Academy of Raya Lucaria. Imbues the ferrule of the caster's staff, the ferrule of the caster's staff with magic, then thrusts it into the ground to create a massive magical shockwave. Hold to continue moving without striking the ground, and then push the end of the staff into enemies. An enhanced version of the Glintstone Miner's Stone Digger sorcery. So, Raya Lucaria, it seems that they innovate. Here's another, like, astronomical one, Night Comet. One of the night sorceries of Celia, Town of Sorcery. Fires a semi-invisible magic comet. This sorcery can be cast repeatedly and while in motion. Charging enhances potency. The Celian sorcerers were assassins, and it is said that they often hunted their fellows. So I think the Celian sorcerers were like viewed as outcasts or heretics or something. See. Okay. Rancor call. Rancor call. It calls Rancor. I really should respec for intelligence. Some of these are so cool. Okay. Sorcery of the Servants of Death. Summons vengeful spirits that chase down foes. Charging enhances potency. Once thought lost, this ancient death hex was rediscovered by the necromancer Garrus, excuse me. I'm doing so bad with like reading out loud today. So, Stone Digger sorceries is really interesting. This Shatter Earth. I just saw that. I don't know if a Stone Digger sorcery used by the Glintstone miners of the Crystal Tunnel. At the Academy use of this sorcery was a stigma that marked out failed scholars. Yeah, so I think, I don't know, using sorceries for like practical or industrial ends like mining is looked down upon. It's kind of lowly or something. crystal. Sorcery of the mysterious crystallians. Creates a massive crystal, then shatters it in a forward burst. Charging enhances potency. The crystallians are inorganic beings, yet they live. They cleave close to the ideals of the primeval current, and as such they are revered guests of the sorcerers. Where do you find the crystallians? I don't remember. Carrion Piercer. One of the sorceries of the Carrion royal family. Conjures a magic greatsword to impale foes. Charging lengthens the initial step in. This sorcery forms a counterpart to Carrion Greatsword. Highly lethal when used against single foes riding alone. So Carrion, see. Loretta's Great Bow, sorcery used by Royal Knight Loretta. Creates a magic great bow and fires a great arrow. Charging enhances potency. Hold to keep the great arrow knocked. It is said that the bow was Loretta's favorite weapon. Favored weapon. Okay, this one has interesting stuff to it. Frozen armament. Sorcery said to have been used by the old Snow Witch. Enchants armament held in the right hand with frost. This sorcery can be cast while in motion. The snowy crone taught the young Ronnie to fear the dark moon as she imparted her gold sorcery. This is interesting, because I don't know if I've met the snowy crone, but I know Ronnie. I haven't been to the snow area yet. And the dark moon, I don't know what that is. I know there's the moon, which is Vernala's thing. Let's see. Oracle bubbles, oracle bubbles, oracle bubbles. Sorcery of the Claymen who served as priests in the ancient dynasty. Produces several small magical bubbles that drift towards foes before they naturally pop. Charging increases the delay before the bubbles pop. The Claymen search for lost oracles within their bubbles. The Claymen you find in the underground areas, which are really interesting spots. They're very creepy and beautiful and interesting. I don't know. I didn't think very much about the Claymen, but it seems like they have a lot going on. Like they have a lot going on in their heads. Another Crystallian, another Cellian. This one is really interesting because poor Thops. Okay, Thops is a barrier. Thops is a merchant you can find on like that in the church on the edge of Liurnia and Limgrave. The lifelong pursuit of Thops the Bluntstone creates a magic force field that deflects sorceries and incantations. Hold to continuously create barriers. Future generations will learn. They will know the harshness of the sneering sorcerers who ridiculed this theory, little realizing that it was in fact a discovery worthy of a new conspectus of the Academy. That is very interesting because Thops, the Bluntstone, that's like some mean name they call him when you meet him, and if you've played this game, you've probably all met him. He's right at the beginning, but people are just, he's just kind of, he views himself as untalented, and he teaches you very simple sorceries. And he says he got locked out when they put up the barrier when the shattering began, and I personally suspect that he just got purposefully locked out by his, colleagues, or whatever you'd want to call them, his cohort, because they don't like him and they think he's dumb. Because again, those sorcerers are very sneering, as this item description says. I like this. I like knowing that Thops was actually an innovator. Conspectus. Conspectus. Here's another interesting one that I think I'll move on and look at some incantations. Because this is Volcano Manor related. One of the sorceries. This is Roiling Magma. Magma. One of the sorceries developed from the magma of Mount Gelmir. Fires a lump of condensed magma that explodes a short delay after hitting the target. Charging enhances potency and further delays the explosion. After discovering the ancient hexes of Gelmir, Rykard, son of Queen Renala, brought them back into practical use as new forms of sorcery. That's interesting. I hadn't looked much into Rykard, but I actually just learned he's the son of Renala. And what he was doing was he was studying sorceries. Well, he is studying sorceries in this game in his own way. Sorry, I already fought Rykard. Again, it's so weird, trying to, like, say, you know, avoid spoilers because of just the non-linear nature of this game, and, like, you kind of know who the bosses are because it's all the demigods, and they tell you the names of the demigods and stuff, so I don't consider that a spoiler. This is all stuff that's pretty readily there, but I don't know, I'm worried that, like, talking about the fact that I beat Rykard is, like, I apologize, like, I guess I gave the warning in the intro. Like, it really depends on what you do and don't want spoiled. Anyway, let's move on to incantations. This I'm really interested in because incantations generally seem to be, Erd Tree related, and more like a lot of them at least based in faith around the Erd Tree. Yeah, another thing about the spoilers is that, like, yeah, I've played a lot of the game, but I know as much, like, not much more than you do about the lore, so anyway, Urgent Heal, this is one of your first incantations. Incantation of the Two Fingers of Faithful. So those who are loyal to the Two Fingers. Heals a small amount of HP. This incantation can be cast while in motion. The Two Fingers has high hopes for the Tarnished, that even if they should be wounded, even should they fall, they will continue to fight for their duty. Assassins approach, assassins approach, assassins approach. Incantation of the Two Fingers. Servants who once served as the assassins of the Round Table hold. Completely silences the footsteps of the caster. Additionally reduces fall damage and the sound produced by falling. This sorcery can be cast while in motion or crouching. The assassins were charged with eliminating tarnish who had strayed from guidance. That is very interesting. I hadn't even, until I read this, realized that there were assassins in the Round Table hold. I don't consider that a spoiler because this, you literally, if you choose Confessor, you start the game with this spell. Catch Flame, one of the introductory pyromancies. Catch Flame. Incantation originating from a sinister prophecy. Sinister prophecy. Momentarily sparks flame from the caster's hand. This incantation can be cast without delay after performing another action. The Flame of Ruin is anathema to the Erd Tree, but prophets sometimes glimpse it within the faith all the same. Sadly, when this occurs, their sole reward is banishment. It's very interesting. So, yeah, when you get the spell book that has these flame spells in it, that people are always call it heresy. And so, Flame of Ruin, so I knew it was heresy, but now I'm looking, it's there's a Flame of Ruin that is the opposite, the enemy of the Erd Tree. But there's a few, dialogue, the turtle in the church. I guess I won't spoil that, but also this is saying that it seems that the Flame of Ruin and the Erd Tree are kind of codependent for their existences on each other, or that, I don't know, it seems like the faithful want to cast out prophets who glimpse the flame within the faith, but it seems like it's suggesting that the Flame of Ruin is just as much a part of the faith, and maybe, I don't know, its existence is linked with that of the Erd Tree. Really interesting to think about. A blood oath, okay. Oh, I want to find the black flame. Black flame. A black flame incantation of the Godskin Apostles. Throws a ball of raging black fire. Charging enhances potency and causes the fireball to explode. Black flame is weighty. After dealing damage, it continues to sap foes' HP for a very short time. I'm not familiar with the Godskin Apostles, or I forgot who they were, but I know they innovated or they discovered the black flame. You know, actually, I did hear about the Godskin Apostles the other day. I'll have to remember who that is. Now, there's a whole species of incantations in this game that are beast-based, and I like that because obviously the themes of beasthood and Bloodborne, FromSoftware's other game, and my favorite of theirs, and one of my favorite games of all time. I'm trying to figure out, I think I still like Bloodborne better than this, the Elden Ring, which I, obviously love. But yeah, I'm trying to figure out this whole beasthood thing, so this will be interesting. Bestial Sling, or Bestial, I don't know. Incantation to This incantation can be cast without delay after performing another action. It is said that in the time before the Earth Tree, stones were the first weapons of the beasts who had gained intelligence. I have read that before. That really intrigues me because so there was a time before the Earth Tree, and then we have a sort of evolution thing going on in this world, just like on Earth. The beasts who gained intelligence. I think that's kind of suggesting that like humans came from beasts in this game's lore, and that the Earth Tree followed. The Earth Tree came after life began to exist, and I wonder if the Earth Tree has like any correlation with like the intelligence of humans, because there's a lot of I don't know, bestialism is a theme in this game, because you have the demi-humans who like attack you. You have like other sort of the Albinorics who are like fake people. It's like I don't know, I've just noticed a lot of significance to like demi-humans, you know, beasts plus intelligence, and the demi-humans use like clubs, and I don't know, some of them throw rocks and stuff. I don't know, really interesting. And the Claymen. Blessings boon. Blessings boon. One of the ancient Earth Tree incantations. Grants a blessing to the caster and nearby allies, gradually restoring HP. Hold to continue praying and delay activation. Blessings once fell like tears from the Earth Tree, and this incantation is but a lingering remnant of their power. So, a blessing is gradually restores HP, and blessings would fall from the Earth Tree. So like healing, like the Earth Tree would heal people, and people look up to that. That kind of echoes with like Bloodborne, where the blood was a healing thing, and the political order was based on healing, where the healing church was able to gain power because it had the power of healing. I'll keep that in mind. Ooh, here we go with the dragons, which I am also very interested in. Dragon Cult. Lightning Spear. One of the incantations of the capital's ancient dragon cult. Summons a lightning spear and hurls it before the caster. Charging causes a lightning bolt to strike the point of impact. Long ago, Godwyn the Golden defeated the ancient dragon Fortisax and befriended his fallen foe, an event that gave rise to the ancient dragon cult in the capital. Yeah, I want to figure out the significance of dragons in this lore, because here's one of the dragon spells. I think it's the only one I bought to fight Radon with. Rotten Breath. Rotten Breath. One of the incantations of Dragon Communion. Transforms caster into a dragon to spew scarlet rot breath. Charging extends duration. Those extraordinary individuals who perpetuate Dragon Communion are called the Dragon-Hearted. Okay, so there's like this communion going on. I wonder if the dragon call is anything like communion, or must have had communion involved. Now I want to read this. There's these aspects of the crucible, so the crucible is really interesting to me, and they are beast or dragon-like. Anyway, let's read it. Aspects of the crucible. Horns. One of the ancient Erdtree incantations creates a mighty horn on the caster's shoulder to gore foes from a low stance. Charging allows the caster to barrel into foes before delivering the final attack. This is a manifestation of the Erdtree's primal vital energies, an aspect of the primordial crucible where all life was once blended together. That's so interesting. Primordial crucible, actually, where all life was once blended together. Crucible. I need to look up that word and see if there's like meanings. So I guess by crucible it's just referring to like when the Erdtree was formed. All life was blended together, and I guess the Erdtree must have come from that. I don't know. Oh, and here's another clue about the beast and the bestial vitality. Incantations taught by Gronk the Beast clergyman fills the body with bestial vigor, restoring HP over a period of time. Having gained intelligence, the beasts must have felt how their wildness slipped away as civilization took hold. Okay, so I'm wondering if civilization took hold before the Erdtree, or whether that was part of the formation of the Erdtree. Oh, and okay, I'm gonna read one more. I'm gonna finish up with incantations soon, because the Flame of Frenzy is really interesting. Howl of Shabriri. Howl of Shabriri. Incantation originating from the maddening three fingers. Releases a maddening shriek that causes madness build up in foes nearby. This incantation also causes madness build up in the caster and makes enemies more likely to target them. It is said that the sickness of the Flame of Frenzy began with Shabriri, the most reviled man in all history. This I am so curious about, and I don't know much about. I only have this and then the actual Flame of Frenzy, with again the maddening three fingers. So there's like the two fingers, and then there's some, either it's three actual fingers, or I don't know. it's like in Bloodborne, like their Bloodborne has frenzy, like when you witness the eldritch truth that drives you insane. And it seems like there's something in this game too, like you can witness something that drives you insane, and that has to do with the three fingers. And it's like, it's probably different from like the sorceries where they saw the void and the cosmos, because they don't go crazy. They had like, he seemed to have a lot of clarity of mind when he saw the abyss, whereas this madness thing is wild. Yeah. Maybe there's some. Man, there are a lot of items in this game. I could read these for hours, honestly. This I'm just interested in. The Lord Sworn's straight sword. So you meet the Lord Sworn a lot in like Limgrave, and actually I think throughout the whole world. Well-crafted straight sword with an illustrious design, wielded by regulars of a lord's army. Though blackened and damaged by years of use, it appears to have otherwise been kept in a serviceable condition, despite the soldiers having long since lost their minds. Okay, so yeah, here we go with the insanity. Like, the soldiers you see around the place appear like they've lost their minds. How did they lose their minds? Does it have to do with the three fingers? I don't know. Let's see, ornamental straight sword. Slender straight sword patterned after an antique ornament. Superior swordsmen prefer to wield one in each hand. After falling from grace, the dregs of the golden lineage sought power and purpose in the past. Maybe it has to do with, maybe the insanity has to do with like a loss of purpose. Because like when I don't know, this game has the themes of Dark Souls. Not as much with Bloodborne, but Dark Souls has this sort of like Sisyphean theme of like you know, keeping the world alive, kindling the flame it's like pushing a rock up the hill. It's like ushering in a new era of what you know, I don't know, flame or darkness. Whereas in this game, it's kind of meta about fantasy tropes, because you're a hero with a purpose, and it's like the purpose is to have a purpose, you know, as a tarnished, and you're like blessed that you have grace, like showing you purpose, even though you don't even know what you're doing, really. I don't know. And so I'm just thinking, like, maybe the insanity has something to do with like having no purpose, no, you know, these are Lord Sworn. These people fancy themselves heroes, and they have duty, and I don't know. So Scarlet Rot. Okay, here's another, the Troll's Golden Sword. Sword given to the lesser giants who fought for the Erd Tree during the war against the giants long ago. Though they have lost their minds, they stay inseparable from their swords that are in sad shape, such that the gold plating had flaked away. That's interesting. So the Troll's trolls were giants. The trolls are basically giants that have gone insane, like everyone else in the land. And I'm trying to figure out the source of the insanity. But yeah, so the giants were fighting on the side of the Erd tree. It seems like... Actually, I don't know about that. What I was gonna say there, but, I've been curious, like, how much of this George R.R. Martin wrote, like, how much of the lore it said that he wrote. He said he did world building, but not characters and story, so I don't know. I mean, I'm assuming that he wrote, I guess that the names like Radon and Godric and Godwin and Renala and stuff just sound George R.R. Martin like. So, and like the setting is intricately connected to them, so I'm guessing he wrote that, and I don't know, the lore is really cool, and I think it's really cool he's involved. I'm just curious how much of it he wrote, how much has been preserved, you know, because he wrote the world building and then they took it from there. Okay, Banished Knight's Halberd. I loved this weapon. I used this a lot. A finely crafted halberd intricately engraved with an ancient motif, given to knights who, whether by misfortune or misdeed, were forced to abandon their homes. Most of these knights were sent to the fringes, where they were forced to start anew with only despair for company. So the fringes of the lands between. The Cipher Pata, very interesting one. One of the weapons originating from the two fingers, a formless sequence of ciphers, comprise its blade, and as such no shield can repel it. I actually just learned that no shield can repel it. That is really cool. I'm going to start using it more. Deals holy damage. The furtive inscription appears to hang in the air, the language of light spoken by the two fingers. So that's like a sentence that you're holding. That's crazy. Okay, I think that I might, you know, I won't spoil any of that stuff there, but I might go to the key items and check out. I want to read the Seedbed Curse. Now, that when you have the opening cinematic where they mention the loathsome dung eater, I was always so curious about him. Turns out he kind of shows up and he's a character in this game, so the Seedbed Curse is something of his. Curse grown on a corpse killed and defiled by the dung eater. A tender pox afflicted with omen horns. The dung eater cultivates the seedbed curse on corpses. By doing so, he prevents dead souls returning to the Erd tree, leaving them forever cursed. One of the most loathsome things found in all the lands between. When I saw that, I was like, this guy's a really foul bastard. Like, he prevents people from passing on to the afterlife. And I'm wondering if he's doing it for like selfish, you know, self-interested reasons, or whether he himself has some curse, like if whether he himself is cursed to do this evil thing. See, I don't kind of feel like these. Okay, I'm gonna read the Dragon Heart because I'm interested in the dragon lore. Dragon Heart seized by a dragon tracker. Riddled with gravel stone, this grotesque organ continues to beat vivacious graciously. An offering used in the dragon communion. Consume a dragon's heart at the altar to make its power yours. While a terrible and savage-looking thing, the heart has a peculiar beauty to it. Oh my god, Renala is such a... I love Renala's boss fight. It's like my favorite in the whole Souls. My favorite FromSoftware boss fight so far is Renala's. It's just so beautiful. Is it my favorite? Yeah, that I can think of it. This game has some absolutely epic boss fights. Like, I'm impressed by just how epic the boss fights are. The first demigods were the Elden Lord Godfrey and his offspring, the Golden Lineage. This I'm so curious about. Serpent's Amnion. Amnion from the mother's womb which cradled the poor unwanted offspring of a repellent birthing ritual. It will never dry out, remaining damp indefinitely. So it's like I don't know. Okay, I actually need to stop recording now. But, damn, I mean, why did I do that? I could have just read and read, hours of this stuff, but I can only have so much space, so, yeah, I mean, I hope you're satisfied with what I read. I hope it helped you relax. You know, ideally, you're not even listening anymore, you're fast asleep. Don't knock me off my word. Yeah, ideally you're fast asleep right now. Let me know what you think. If you're playing Elden Ring, leave a comment, tell me your thoughts, any tips, any opinions, anything. I am obsessed with this game, so really, like, down to talk about it 100%. Don't forget to subscribe and all that. Thanks for all your support these past year and a half since I started my channel. I know I've been gone for like 2 months now, but I'm coming back. Life has been